Human relationships look simple on the surface. We talk, we cooperate, we work together, we live side by side. But underneath that simplicity hides an astonishing complexity. Each person carries a private world, formed by experiences, expectations, fears, and assumptions that cannot be seen directly by others. And yet we still judge, label, and respond to people as if their inner world should be obvious. This gap between what we think we know about someone and how that person really works on the inside is the starting point of most misunderstandings. Most of us secretly believe we are logical, reasonable, and fair. We assume our opinions are well thought out, our reactions justified, and our intentions good. So when someone disagrees with us or acts in a way we don't like, we naturally feel puzzled, offended, or even betrayed. We think, why would someone do that? How could they not understand? Is it so hard to cooperate? But if we flip the roles, we discover a surprising truth. The other person is thinking the exact same thing about us. This is why building relationships is not just about liking someone. It is about decoding them. To get along with others, we must navigate differences in values, sensitivity, interests, priorities, and emotional logic. And because no two minds are identical, misunderstandings are not an exception. They are the default state. Yet despite this complexity, human beings crave connection. We need recognition, validation, and cooperation. In fact, much of our social success depends not on dominance or intelligence, but on the subtle ability to understand what goes on inside others. When this ability fails, relationships become cold, fragile, or transactional. When it succeeds, cooperation feels effortless. One of the strangest things about human psychology is how convinced we are that our own perspective is objective. We rarely see ourselves as biased. We simply believe we are seeing the world as it truly is. Yet psychology tells us the opposite. We do not see reality directly. We see reality filtered through ourselves. This is called the self-centered bias. It doesn't mean we are selfish in a moral sense. It means that our own mind is the only mind we can inhabit. We have direct access to our thoughts, our reasons, our fears, and our justifications. We know why we do what we do. But when observing others, we only see the surface of their actions, not the inner reasoning that produced them. This asymmetry creates a predictable pattern. When we make mistakes, we say we had no choice, we were tired, or we meant well. When others make mistakes, we say they were careless, irresponsible, or thoughtless. We give ourselves credit for our intentions. We judge others by their outcomes. This is why conflicts scale so quickly. People are not only defending their positions, they are defending their perceived identity as a reasonable, good, competent person. Losing an argument can feel like losing dignity. Being misunderstood can feel like being erased. And so we double down, lecture harder, blame more, and listen less. If we could briefly enter another person's mind, many conflicts would dissolve instantly. We would see that most people are not trying to harm us. They are merely navigating life with limited knowledge, flawed habits, unresolved anxieties, and competing priorities, just like us. But because we cannot directly access another mind, we often mistake difference for hostility and ignorance for malice. Cooperation breaks down not because people are evil, but because people cannot reliably read each other. The word sincerity sounds moral, but psychologically it means something quite practical. Allowing others to evaluate us accurately. We often assume sincerity means simply telling the truth, but sincerity also involves exposing our motives, strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots in a way that others can understand. If someone cannot tell what you want, what you value, or how you make decisions, cooperation becomes guesswork, and guesswork quickly leads to suspicion. People who appear cold or reserved are often misunderstood, not because they lack kindness, but because they reveal too little for others to form a stable mental model of them. In contrast, people who communicate motives clearly are easier to trust because the mind prefers predictability over perfection. To cooperate with someone, you don't need to admire them, agree with them, or share their worldview. You simply need to be able to predict them. This is what sincerity provides, a reduction in uncertainty. When two people can read each other well, cooperation becomes natural, even when they disagree. When they cannot, cooperation becomes exhausting, even when they share the same goal. Many people believe that to cooperate, we simply need shared goals. But shared goals are never enough. Human cooperation is built on a more delicate foundation, mutual understanding. To understand someone is to temporarily suspend your own viewpoint and enter theirs. It means asking questions like, what does this person want? What are they afraid of losing? What would make them feel respected? What outcome would they consider a win? This may sound obvious, yet few people actually do it. Most of us negotiate relationships as if the other person is simply a version of ourselves, with the same priorities, the same emotional logic, and the same definitions of fairness. But this is a fantasy. What feels fair to one person may feel threatening to another. What feels respectful in one culture may feel cold in another. What feels efficient to one personality may feel rushed to another. Understanding, therefore, becomes a type of psychological translation. We translate between worlds so that both sides can locate common ground. Without this translation, collaboration collapses into competition. Each person tries to win according to their own rules. There is also a more strategic dimension. Cooperation requires aligning not just feelings, but incentives. Even the most moral or empathetic person has interests and boundaries. When incentives clash, good intentions alone cannot maintain harmony. But when incentives align, even imperfect relationships can function smoothly. Understanding others does not guarantee you will agree with them. It only guarantees that you will not misread them, and that alone is powerful. If we accept that relationships are built on understanding rather than assumption, sincerity rather than perfection, and alignment rather than pressure, then the practical question becomes, how do we make others willing to cooperate with us? The answer is surprisingly simple. Help people see how cooperating with you benefits them. This does not mean manipulation or flattery. It means recognizing that people live inside their own story, not ours. If you want someone's help, buy-in, trust, or loyalty, you must show how your goals intersect with their values, their dignity, and their version of success. Psychologists refer to this as perspective-based framing. It means you don't ask, why won't they do what I want? But instead ask, under what conditions would they want to do it? When people feel understood, they soften. When they feel respected, they open up. When they feel considered, they reciprocate. And when cooperation benefits both sides, it becomes sustainable. In this sense, the foundation of successful relationships is not moral superiority or emotional sacrifice. It is the skill of organizing reality so that others do not lose by working with you.